The moment she stepped onto his property, it was anything but ordinary. The doorbell's sharp ring shattered the morning calm she claimed it was a routine. HOA inspection, but her eyes betrayed disdain, suspicion, and entitlement. He remained calm, reminding himself of his achievements and hard work. Yet the audacity felt personal, invasive, and threatening. Every step she took seemed loaded with judgment. Every glance a silent accusation. This wasn't just a neighborly visit, something more profound, darker, and more unsettling was about to unfold. Would the confrontation end quietly? Or would it expose a harsh truth? Watch until the end to see how one encounter turned a peaceful morning into a life-changing lesson. Wait a second. Let us know where you're watching from in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more powerful and inspiring stories just like this one. He had spent a lifetime climbing, fighting, and proving himself as a Black woman and a federal judge. She navigated her days in a constant balance between authority and vulnerability. Her family had taught her resilience. Her community had instilled courage. Her home, a sunlit, modest house in a quiet suburban neighborhood, was a symbol of everything she had earned. Every corner reflected care, every photograph and piece of art, a milestone of hard work and pride. She didn't expect admiration, but she did expect respect. HOA had always been a minor annoyance. Letters about lawn heights, mailbox cleanliness, and paint colors were routine irritations, but nothing prepared her for this woman, the type who carried entitlement in her stride, who seemed to believe the block belonged to her. She hadn't knocked politely, nor scheduled a visit. She arrived, eyes sharp, clipboard in hand, radiating judgment. That morning she had just returned from a case exposing systemic corruption in local law enforcement. Exhausted but satisfied, she had been looking forward to the quiet hum of her home and the laughter of her children. In the backyard, she never expected that this ordinary desire for peace would spark a storm, revealing how little some people see beyond skin color. The question hung in the air: could she defend her family and dignity at the same time? The doorbell rang again, slicing through the morning calm like a knife. She opened the door to find the woman, clipboard-ready, eyes scanning every inch with suspicion and judgment. "I'm here for an inspection," she declared. Her tone was not polite, it carried accusation, as though she already assumed wrongdoing. He allowed her inside cautiously. His daughters peeked from the kitchen, wary of the intruder. Her gaze swept across the living room, pausing on African art, family photos, and signs of a life carefully built. Every step carried entitlement. Every glance felt invasive. "Your lawn is fine," she said abruptly, her eyes still flicking around. "But your fence, I'll have to report it." It was petty, almost gleeful, like she had uncovered some crime. It was never about rules, it was about power and the audacity of someone she assumed could never hold. If reminded himself of his authority, he is a federal judge. Law, logic, and fairness define his life. Yet her scrutiny wasn't legal, it was racial assumptions, bias, and entitlement dictated her behavior, not rules or facts. She moved toward his office, where confidential case files were neatly stacked. He stepped forward, firm but calm. "This is private," he said. Her eyes widened, startled, as if she hadn't expected resistance. A hollow laugh escaped her lips. "I just want to make sure everything is proper," she said, feigning innocence. Every instinct screamed that the confrontation could escalate. He thought of news stories: Black homeowners harassed professional, Black women belittled in their own spaces. His family's safety was at stake. He drew a slow, steadying breath, weighing each move. Could he assert his authority without inflaming her arrogance? Could he teach her a lesson without conflict? Her phone buzzed momentarily, distracting her. That split second was enough. She had no idea who she had intruded upon. Her audacity, fueled by ignorance and bias, was about to collide with decades of resilience, authority, and earned respect. He placed a hand gently on her shoulder, not to threaten, but to stop her advance. "I am a federal judge," he said, calm yet unyielding. Her eyes widened, disbelief and fear flashing across her face. For a brief moment, the power dynamic shifted. She realized this wasn't a simple neighborly dispute. It was a confrontation with someone who commanded law, respect, and authority. Daily her smile faltered, her voice caught in her throat. I didn't know, she stammered, trying to mask embarrassment, but he saw through it. This wasn't ignorance, it was entitlement, prejudice, and the false assumption that someone like him could not hold power. He stepped back, letting the weight of the moment settle. He could have called security, filed a report, pressed charges, but none of it was necessary. The audacity of her intrusion, the shock of recognition, the realization that she had underestimated him was enough. The room was tense, vibrating with unspoken truths. Her eyes darted around, suddenly aware of every detail she had scrutinized. With disdain, assumptions have consequences, bias meets resistance. She left shortly after, muttering excuses. Clutching her clipboard like a shield, he closed the door behind her chest, tight but proud. His daughters peeked from behind the couch, eyes wide with curiosity and relief. He knelt, teaching them the importance of standing firm, knowing one's worth, and never allowing anyone to diminish them. Because of skin color, he reflected on how pervasive prejudice could be, how assumptions rooted in race infiltrate even the most mundane spaces, even a suburban neighborhood. It wasn't just his story, it was the story of millions, judged not by merit but by color. The incident stayed with him not as a moment of personal triumph, but as a reminder of systemic inequities and silent battles fought daily. Moments of confrontation, met with composure and authority, can teach more than anger ever could. Dignity, respect, and justice are non-negotiable. Have you ever been underestimated because of who you are? Where are you watching from? And how do you confront bias in your everyday life? Take care.